Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you these two pieces which are both brackets from the front bumper of my car. I've cleaned them down with a wire wheel to get all the old paint and rust off and have a look at them and see what work needs doing. Not too bad. There's a hole just here on this one which is going to need a patch, and the other thing that's happened is there's M5 thread in there. This one here has just got some damage to this face here, but it's actually the mounting face, so I need to make a good job of that because there's quite a lot of weight will sit on this, so that needs to be restored quite nicely. Other than that, they're both in pretty good shape, and once those repairs are done, they'll just need a prime and paint and they'll be ready to go back in the bumper with all the other parts that make it up.
Here's where I started. This is the underside of the assembled bumper for my car. The two brackets that fix it to the car are arrowed here. They look pretty rusty, though it's mostly surface, and they are made from thick 2mm steel. Here's the brackets removed from the car and cleaned up with a rotary wire brush. And here's a reminder of the problems I showed in the intro. There's a rust hole in this corner and the remains of a bolt that snapped, which is stuck in this threaded insert. This is the other bracket, and you can see there's a couple of holes in the top mounting face. That damage looks worse from the inside. So I've clamped it down, ready to start the first job. This welded insert is beyond any easy repair, so I'm going to cut away the original welded nut, complete with the rusted end of the bolt. I've done that, and you can see the remains of the insert here. Cut away from here. To repair this, I'm going to use a different style of threaded insert, and I've clamped one to the bracket already to weld. This test piece shows the best settings I found when I test welded one of these inserts. Power setting on my welder is 1 max and wire speed is 5. Here's the new threaded insert welded into place. And now I'm going to take a look at the rust hole here in the front of that bracket. The bracket's 2mm metal, but as I'm just patching up a really small hole, I'll fold up some 1mm Zintex for this repair. To make the repair easier, I'll open out the hole first with this miniature burr in the Dremel, which I've done, then finished off in the corners with a small hand file like this. I've cut back until I reach good metal. Now I'm marking up a repair plate through the hole I just made. Then marking some areas to cut away so I can create the shape I want, which is here. Then bending up the sides so it will drop in the hole like this. Then on the other side, I'll fold the tabs down to keep the repair plate in place. With the repair plate clamped in place by the tabs, I've welded it in, then ground back the welds. On the inside of the panel, the tabs are still there. And now the welding's done, I've cut them away with the Dremel grinder from the repair area, which is here. Here's the repair from the outside of the panel. It's gone well, so not that easy to see. It's just inside this triangle. Now I've moved on to the other bracket and the holes in the top face here. The metal isn't brilliant in this area, so I've cut away a biggish piece that has the worst rust damage. Here's that removed. The bracket's quite thick 2mm steel, so I ordered in some 2mm Zintex to repair it. I want this repair to look neat, but can't easily joggle the edge of 2mm steel under the original. So I decided to butt weld it in place. Butt welding is where the two parts to be welded are lined up very closely and you weld along the gap between them. If the gap's too big, the welder can easily blow holes in the metal. The good news is 2mm metal will be easier to butt weld than the 1mm I'm normally using to repair the car. Here I've marked up a repair plate ready to cut to shape. But I reckon the gaps around the repair plate in these two places are not really close enough for butt welding. So I've had another go, which is here. This one's better. Viewed from the side, you can see that the front of this repair panel needs to slope down slightly. so I formed it into a slight curve, then clamped it in place on the bracket. Now I've tack welded it to hold it in place so I can remove the clamps, and then go on to seam weld between the repair panel and the bracket. This is that panel with the welds ground down. It looks really good. It's hard to see where the panels join. I've highlighted the repaired area here. Very happy with that result. And here's the inside welded up for good measure. And those welds ground down to keep it tidy. This is a side view of the repaired panel. The butt welding has made a really tidy job as there's no overlap anywhere. I checked out this M5 fixing in that panel and the bolt doesn't want to go in easily. I never force fixings like this. If it won't screw in easily now, it will only get worse. So I've clamped it up and filled the hole with grease. Then found an M5 tap to clean out the threads. I'll always run a tap through problem rusty threads. That job's done and the bolt hand tightens really easily now. Now I'm going to cut my repair panel here to the right shape. So here I've clamped the two panels face to face. I'll trace around the edge of the original to get the right shape. This is the repair panel marked up ready to cut. And here's the panel trimmed to shape. Now I need to drill a second fixing hole. And here you can see the two panels back to back with a final trim to the shape of the edge. I used a Dremel grinder for this. Small grinder's perfect if you want to do any detail shaping. I use good quality grinding discs which are expensive but in my view well worth the money for the results you get. If you're buying a Dremel for this kind of work, get a big one. A mains version will work well and is much cheaper. Or if you want to go cordless, get the biggest to get the torque you need and also a spare battery. The repair panel's looking pretty good from the outside and from the inside and also from the edge. I'm happy with that. And now it's time to get these painted. I've degreased them with brake cleaner, then treated the surface with a rust converter that's got phosphoric acid. That will hopefully hold back the rust in the surface pitting of the metal. A shot of primer on the outside and the inside. Then a few coats of satin black top coat. Here are the finished panels. Repaired area is looking really good now, and with both the screw fixings working like new. So that's the two brackets painted up and looking good and ready to go back, reassemble on my bumper. The holes that I had, there was one in the side if you remember, also the damage to the top piece, completely gone now, all new metal put in there. So I hope these will last for a good few more years to come. If you like this kind of restoration and you want to see more, keep an eye on my channel. Ask Stuart.